Richard, thanks for the call.
Hey guys, Rob from the Off-Grid Tiny House. We got a bunch of stuff charging over here. This guy's done. I can pull him. We're overvolting. So battery overvolt, so I'm going to just reset this and it will do its thing.
Your campaign slogan is, 2024, re-elect Biden. Biden Taliban, 2024.
There we go. So I got an extension cord run all the way back here at the tiny house. I cleared a nice path and vacuumed. And what happened was I came over early and painted. So I got the air filter on high speed. It's pointing straight up the dampers and with the deodorizer on there. And I gave this a second coat on here. Second coat of paint and second coat of paint down the bath beside the shower here. I've been helping my dad a lot over next door at his trailer. He's building a battery box for his single battery, and he bought I gave him a bunch of stuff, but he gave me $100 for it. He didn't have to pay me, but I gave him a charge controller, a mod sine wave inverter. I got the wire for him, and then we had to go out and buy a 12-volt socket, and then I put the little high amp probe in there. And yeah, so I put some Mylar in the surrounding of, he found a cooler that he had over there that he wasn't using, so we put Mylar first, then we used up a lot of my foam board to add more insulation to it, and then we dropped the heater mat and then put the battery on top, and then he cut a hole with the hole saw, run all the wires out into his battery setup, and he converted his, or is in the process of converting his furnace fan over to 12 volt instead of 120 volt, and he tested it beforehand, and there's enough blow from the computer fan that runs on 12 volt that totally replaces the need for an inverter to run his furnace, which is great. And he did put a new window in, so less reliant on light over there, but in the winter time, mostly dependent on that. Okay guys, that was my mom, came over for a visit. That's rare that she showed up. She says she doesn't want to come all the way in, she just looks in the door for whatever reason. She's afraid to do anything, I guess, I don't know. But anyways, I'll try not to move while talking. I'm just trying to get away from the noise of the fan and the noise of the radio. So anyways, behind me is the original battery box that I created way many years ago for the beginning of the Off-Grid Tiny House. Now, it's no longer used for that, never was. It was a little shelving unit for the bathroom, like a divider. It's no longer used for that. However, speaking of batteries, thankfully, I thought it wasn't going to happen, guys, but my batteries came back on sale. I ordered 2 right away. So my bank is absolutely murdered right now because it's just under $2 grand for the batteries. But that will bring me up to 400 amp hours. And now I can build the proper battery box for the incoming batteries, and I have the sand to make it completely safe. Now I'm going to go into the whole build and everything. So what I think I'm going to do is use as much as I can out of this as I possibly can for these for the incoming batteries. Though it's going to be a little bit tricky because this has been silicone sealed and the whole 9 yards, because the original idea was lead acid batteries and I was afraid of off-gassing, so it was going to be vented. That's why the silicone's on there. So Yeah, so I don't know if I'll use it totally. I have a lot of leftover wall boards that I can use, and I have a lot of leftover 2x4s and such outside to use as well as ceiling tile. I don't know how I got paint up there, but okay. The old ceiling boards there. So I'm gonna have to build a new box because I don't have one right now for my setup. But I'm going to make it large enough to house the 4 batteries, all the sand, deep enough as well, and then I'll add the electric heater mats. Now Stu said build it out of wood, but on the interior, heavy gauge metal plates all the way around, some type of sheet metal or something. What I want to do as well is put Mylar in there, line the whole box with Mylar, then sand. And then he said have like a heavy steel plate underneath the batteries that goes on top of the sand, 2 inches thick of sand. Then the steel plate, then the heater mats, then the batteries, then make the battery connections, then start filling the thing with sand all the way up to the tops of the batteries, or just even, and then just hang the bags of sand over top of that, with allowing your wires to escape to go to the inverter and such. So we shall see how this all turns out. It's going to be a total revamp of my solar setup again, but I'm going to double my capacity to 400 amp hours. Right now I'm only running 200 amp hours. All lithium iron phosphate batteries, all with BMSs and low temperature cutoff switches. And with the heater mats, the nice thing about them is they really maintain the temperature in there, especially like I didn't even have a battery box on these batteries, and they maintain the temperature without a battery box very well. So building an actual proper box for the 4 should be pretty exciting to see how warm it gets in there, especially with the sand as insulation. Now with the bags of sand, High-Tech Guy 18 Stu says I need to take the contents of the bags of sand and put it in those aluminum trays that I bought. They're actually right here, and I need to cook them on the barrel stove to remove the moisture out of the sand, so the sand is completely dry before going into the battery box, which makes a whole lot of sense. So I will be doing that as we creep into fall and winter. I'm not ready to fire this guy up yet because I do want to tape the joints, retape all the joints with aluminum tape. And this lady still has not come for her stuff, which is, I texted her, but well, I'm sure she has a lot on her plate because she uprooted her whole life and headed way up north to an off-grid community to set up with a bunch of other people, and she's got to get prepared for winter. And I don't think she's worried about, the last thing she's worried about is a turbine and a couple gadgets, but still it'd be nice to have this stuff out here. So I may take that battery over to my dad's trailer where the wind turbine's stored and put it over there. And then she has, she's buying these 2 inverters and 3 PWM charge controllers off me as well. So she'll need I need another $200 for that stuff, and that will help, you know, a little bit here over at the Off-Grid Tiny House to pay for these batteries incoming. We did pick up a job, fairly big job, that'll help pay and keep my bank account settled until I totally pay these batteries off. And if you guys want to help support me in paying these batteries off sooner, what you can do is just thumb up my videos that you see. That's the simplest thing you can do online. The other thing, if you want to contribute financially, you can go to Patreon, my Patreon channel, do a one-time donation there, or a one-time donation on PayPal, or become a Patreon member for $1 a month. And then with that, you get access to all my videos before they hit YouTube to the public. So you get all my stuff earlier, unedited, uncut, directly to you, ad-free. And if you stay a subscriber on there for $1 a month minimum, I will credit you in all my future videos coming up. So help support me. You get the bonus of seeing all my live stuff before it hits YouTube. Because most of the time, guys, my stuff when it hits YouTube is like a month old. If you're a Patreon member, you're constantly getting my latest and greatest, right? Or latest anyway. So yeah, so far so good. So the fan's been running most of the day to get rid of the fumes, the paint fumes, because I am going to be staying over here tonight. So I'm going to leave this running as long as possible because I don't need air conditioning, and this seems to be doing its job at helping cure the paint faster. Even though all the windows are open and I got a ceiling fan running back there, I think we'll be okay. So I'm going to figure out how to build this box, what materials I'm going to use, and get some measurements. So see you in a bit.